Major win for the state of Washington tonight. Good evening. I'm Joyce Taylor.
I'm Greg Copeland. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals unanimously ruled a law aimed at helping sick Hanford nuclear workers will stay in place. The Hanford site near Richland, Washington is a former nuclear weapons production site and is now the most toxic work site in the country. Reporting by King 5 investigator Susanna Frame prompted the protections for cleanup workers passed in 2018. Susanna is here now with the latest.
For 2 years, the U.S. Department of Justice has fought the state, saying the law passed 2 years ago is unconstitutional. Hanford workers sickened on the job by radiation and toxic chemicals for 3 decades have systematically been denied worker compensation benefits. The U.S. Department of Energy, which owns Hanford, routinely argues that people are getting sick from something else or making up their illnesses. That led to a state law that gives workers a leg up on getting their benefits. 6 months after Jay Inslee signed that bill into law, the feds appealed. They lost at the state level. Then the DOJ appealed again. And today, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled against the federal government.
It's a huge victory from a legal standpoint, but more importantly, really, Susanna, it's a huge victory for the workers who, as you have covered over and over again, are really in need of having access to these benefits and not dying literally before they can get them.
Would this be the end of the road or not?
Look, we're winning over and over again, and I just would hope the federal government has more important things to do and better ways to spend resources than find this law that does nothing more than help out Hanford workers.
If the U.S. Department of Energy wants to keep on fighting, the next and last stop would be at the U.S. Supreme Court. In Seattle, Susanna Frame, King 5 News.